हमारे संग जुड़ने के लिए। Now let's turn to our big focus this hour. A fresh natural gas discovery in the Andaman Sea has renewed hopes of unlocking a major domestic energy source for India. State-run Oil India Limited has confirmed the presence of natural gas in an exploratory well drilled off the Andaman Islands, a development that the government sees as an encouraging sign for the country's offshore exploration program. The discovery was made at the Sri Vijaypuram 3 well, located about 15 kilometers from the eastern coast of the Andaman Islands. Union Petroleum and Natural Gas Minister Hardeep Singh Puri described the find as an ocean of energy opportunities and said initial testing had established the presence of natural gas through continuous flaring. The development comes as India intensifies efforts to discover new oil and gas reserves under the National Deepwater Exploration Mission, also known as the Samudra Manthan mission. The significance of the discovery goes beyond a single well. For years, geologists and policymakers have believed that the Andaman Basin could hold large hydrocarbon reserves. The latest finding strengthens that belief and adds to evidence that the region may emerge as one of India's key energy frontiers. According to the government, hydrocarbons have now been reported in 2 of the 3 exploratory wells drilled by Oil India in the current Andaman Basin campaign. While the exact size of the newly discovered reserves remains unknown, the result is being viewed as a positive indicator for future exploration. Joining us live at this point is Dr. Sharat Kohli, economist. Also with us, Dr. Ajay Dua, economist on the broadcast. Mitali Nikore, economist, also joins us live. Let me make a start with you first, Dr. Kohli. The timing of this, of course, couldn't have been better, given what we're seeing around the world and the constraints in the oil supply chain. What do you make of this big breaking news that will put a smile on all Indians' face today?
Good evening, Uday, to you, my fellow panelists, and the NewsX viewers. I think this is a matter to be celebrated. As you rightly said, it couldn't have come at a better time when the world is facing energy crisis. Well, India, we all know what happened in Qatar. Because of that, the LNG supply was impacted. And although the quantum of find is not known right now, whether this can turn into a commercial venture, how much investment is needed. But I think you never know. This could turn out to be a Guyana story, where a major hydrocarbon reserve has been found. And Andaman is known for this kind of reserve. So I think Oil India and other agencies involved in exploration, I think if they intensify, I'm sure they'll be motivated by this effort, and they will intensify. This will substantially provide a relief, where dependence of our country on international gas or international energy resources is proving to be very, very expensive, not just for government of India, but also now for people of India. We all know that inflation because of crude oil, rupee problem, at the root of the problem as far as Iran war is concerned as of now, is energy and crude oil. We all know that, apart from the dollar. So I think this is the perfect time when this could have been discovered. And I'm sure this Samudra Manthan is actually proving to be a Samudra Manthan. This is Samudra Manthan of modern times. Well, there was a Samudra Manthan at that time when there were so many things found in the ocean. But this is a Samudra Manthan of modern times, where you discover gas, you discover hydrocarbons. I think it's very encouraging. And this is one of the biggest good news that that country could have got. Only the people who are connected with the world of oil economy, only the people who are connected with energy, sector, only they can appreciate. For a common man, I'm sure, while they're watching this show, they will appreciate it after the show ends. But then for a common man, he may not be even knowing what does this mean, but this is very, very big. And I hope this is just tip of the iceberg, and there's a lot which remains to be discovered underneath. It can turn out to be several $1 billion for India, not just for its domestic need. Who knows, if it turns out to be a Guyana, we could become an exporter of gas as well, in the times to follow there.
All right, let me in fact take that to you as well, Dr. Ajay Dua, on, of course, this discovery, the location of it, what you make of that, the timing of it, of course, and what the immediate ramifications are going to be of this development.
Thank you, Uday. I think this discovery was made about 3 months ago in the month of February. The announcement, I think, and one particular TV show also had been done by your channel, if I recall that, only to discuss that. But it has been reiterated again in the last couple of days, including by the Union Minister for the subject. The fact is, yes, oil under the open acreage licensing scheme which had been started some years ago, in round 2 of it, Oil India had been awarded this particular acreage off the coast of the Andaman Islands towards the eastern side facing the Strait of Malacca. The fact is, we have struck gas. There is a continuous flow, as you mentioned, but how much it is yet to be established. But first guess is that it is a reserve of about 610 million tons. Now, at what depth is this to be found? The first layer is at 355 meters, but most of the gas is in deep sea, and it could well go on to about 2,500 meters. The deeper you go, the costlier it becomes, and the infrastructure which has to be created, the pipings, the platforms, and then the kind of even facilities for storage of LNG, etc. Those all depend upon when we have firmer data of exactly what is the, say, out of this estimated 610 million tons, how much is exploitable. Exploration has revealed this. Very often we have seen that the difference between explored and the exploited can be even to the extent of 80 to 90%. If it is too deep, and the composition as of now, it is 87% methane. That is good because it has a high calorific value. But that's at the top layer of which I talked about. The first information came about 3 months ago. But going forward, let's hope, keep our fingers crossed, that more and more of such assurances that most of it is exploitable can be taken out, and that there are other wells also in that region which can be linked, because for just one well, if it's an isolated one, then the cost of extraction will be huge. You would have to find big investors shying away from it, and Oil India would have to really look at it closely whether it is worth their while or not. I say this from the experience, if you recall, of the Andhra coast. Reliance had about 15 years ago partnered Shell, and at the end of it, and that was also deep sea gas, and currently not much gas could be exploited. It was found. Then of course there was a little bit of a problem also of Reliance saying that some of the gas found in the neighboring field had flowed into their area, but that credit was not given to whom that area belonged. All those kind of things. At the end of it, not much happened, and we continue to be fairly dependent on gas in this country. Not as much as oil, which can be 85 to 90%, but even for gas, we have a dependence of more than 50%.
Okay. Just a quick intervention here before I take that to Mithali Nikore on Dr. Dua. This announcement, of course, has just come in now officially by the minister, but it is the second discovery in the Andamans. The previous one, of course, happened in September 2025. That was confirmed earlier. That was Vijayapuram 2. This is, of course, Vijayapuram 3, where this has happened. Mithali, let me get you in now. Mithali Nikore, if you can hear me, I'm quickly wanting to come across to you on this discovery now, the ramifications of this, and also, what this really means for our indigenous finding mission, which is also, showing that perhaps there will be more such discoveries in the future as well if we continue with the earnest that we have in the last few months ever since Prime Minister Modi gave that call.
Absolutely, Uday. I think, this discovery is very critical for our economy, because when we think about it, the value of this discovery, according to some estimates, is coming in the range of $2 to $4 billion. That is only in the first year of operations it can actually yield. And over time, the lifetime value of this can go up to even $20 trillion, according to some estimates, which of course, need to be confirmed. These numbers are quite unbelievable in my view, but we have to see, what those numbers actually come to. But the basic point over here is that the efforts that the country is making, we have to appreciate that. The efforts that are being made by the government of India at this point in time in order to actually go into these difficult terrains, go into these new areas, and really find, in the depths of the ocean oil reserves, and look at, how is it that we can actually drill this, we can actually get this into our economy, because at the end of the day, we have to look at the diversification of our oil sources. The more we can look at from, indigenous sources from within the country, and especially the fact that this is not only about just oil and gas, but also about natural gas. Natural gas, which is a very important source for CNG, for LPG, and for all of the other, industrial gases as well. So this is a very, very critical discovery for the economy. Yes, it has a cost. The cost of drilling and these projects can be up to 90,000 crores, even 1 lakh crores. And that's a very big cost. But kudos to the government for taking the risk, going and actually investing in creating this entire option for us as an economy. That is the main point of the Sagar Manthan mission.
Indeed,
Back to you then.
And what happens next now? This discovery, of course, has happened. It has been officially confirmed, Dr. Kohli. What is the procedure ahead? What happens next? And also, what would you now advocate for after, these two announcements in period of just about 8 months, 9 months, showing the vast potential which exists if we continue this mission in full earnest. It is important. This conflict in Iran has taught us that you have to be Atmanirbhar, you have to be self-reliant, and now perhaps slowly but surely India is going to do that even in oil, and as we diversify as well.
Well, I think the next step is going to be to, as I said, this is going to be very motivating for the entire men and machinery who are present at that site. We should not forget this is 15 kilometers off Andaman, and it's deep sea, it's deep waters, and that's where this is happening. So I'm sure this will motivate them to use their equipment, to use their technology, to look for more hydrocarbon presence there. That is, I think that's going to be the next move, because the first thing you do is this the one in isolation, or have we bumped into a major treasure of hydrocarbon reserves? That's the first thing, which I'm sure there are equipment, there is technology available where you can go and find out if in the surroundings of, let's say, 10 kilometers, 5 kilometers, 5 nautical miles, 10 nautical miles, is there anything else? That is going to be the first step. I think the second step, Uday, would be to assess the quantum of find. We heard from Mr. Dua, we heard from Mitali also. Well, Mr. Dua quantified the volume. She spoke of the numbers, but a right guess. But then only time will tell as to how far we can extract from there, how much is the reserve, as rightly pointed out, how much is going to be the cost of extraction. Sometimes, the size of the well may be small, and the cost of investment is far more. So in that case, you may have to abandon, because you don't want to spend a lot of money for a very tiny piece of reserve. But more importantly, I think, as I agree with what Mitali said, it is the intent of the government, it is the intent of Oil India and ONGC and other agencies which are involved in these finds, across the coastal areas, where, there is a need at this point of time. The economy needs it. The people need it. And, I won't be far-fetched in saying, Uday, that the world needs at this time. Look at the dependence of countries, Korea, Japan, Vietnam. We import about 87, 88% of crude, for example. There are countries who are dependent 100% on imports. I mean, the world today has sunk into a global energy crisis because of the war, or Strait of Hormuz, whatever. I think, as I said in the beginning, and as you said as well, no better time than this. I think if I was an energy economist dedicatedly, Uday, I would have invited you to a party tonight let's go and celebrate this. Let's go and have a feast over this, because this is coming as a treasure for the country at this point of time, Uday.
No, certainly. And, and would you, I mean, what we're learning is, of course, there's going to be a huge East Coast hunt now, Dr. Dua. Is that something that should be the need of the hour now, looking at these announcements, fresh seismic data, re-evaluation, old seismic data as well, relook, new deep water surveys? What would you advocate for, and what happens next now after this, after this announcement, after this discovery?
Uday, first let me clarify that I might have mixed up about the Villapuram, Ramapuram 2 and 3.
Yes.
If it was 2, then certainly this is the second discovery, and it's not a repetition of what was announced and what was discussed in the program earlier 3 or 4 months ago. Having said that, let me put it this way, that in the East Coast, there has been talk of it being as rich in hydrocarbons as the Western was, and the West exploration, if you recall, the Bombay High exploration used to occur in the late 80s and early 90s, and thereafter we did find some amount of gas and oil there, which was extracted, but it was not really in the deep seas. The deep seas are in the Bay of Bengal and this area, and there we have had difficulties, and hitherto even the Indian recipients of the contracts or the right to explore, they needed to have foreign partners, and that's how even Reliance, having won the open acreage scheme way back in the early 2000s, this one is in 2018, but what Reliance had got was 20 years earlier. They also needed an investor as well as a technology supplier, which was Shell, which had come in there. Now, in the schemes awarded now in the last 7 or 8 years, this is probably the third or the fourth, if we count Villapuram at 2, then at a place called Utkal near Orissa, and a second one I think was called two places there, both in the Mahanadi Basin. Konarak, I think the other was Konarak. Konarak and Utkal also confirmed that the East Coast has gas reserves, but the distance between Orissa coast and Andaman Islands was considerable. So if we have found 2 contiguous blocks of oil off the eastern coast of Andaman Islands, it is certainly a cause for being happy, and that the efforts which a public sector undertaking, I think for ONGC it was a different matter because they have been into exploration, deep sea as well as onshore for a long time, but for Oil India it's a great effort because hitherto all its finds and exploration work was onshore, starting with earlier way back in Assam. So that's one thing. Second, an assurance, it looks like positivity that there is gas in that part of the world, but as we mentioned, Sharad Kohli also talked about it, that it is a good start. It would depend upon how going forward we keep getting such encouraging results.
Absolutely.
And that the gas is mineable, as they say, exploitable easily and at a reasonable cost.
And it clearly shows if there are effective roadmaps, and timelines set as well as Prime Minister Modi has done for this mission, there will be dividends and results, Dr. Kohli, that we can achieve.
Absolutely. And what I'm told is that ONGC, Oil India, they are also trying to acquire some of the most modern technologies from United States, Brazil and Norway and some of the countries who may be using equipment and tech to discover more easily at a lesser cost. Because this is all a game of how much you are investing in exploration first, and then stage 2, once it is discovered, how much is the quantum of investment required? So there is still maybe a room, I would say, to upgrade your own technology to the way Norway does, to the way Brazil does, to the way US does. Maybe they have, maybe there is a need for upgradation. But as I said, this will provide motivation and inspiration for them to probably look at the eastern coast, look at other areas where more such reserves can be found. Imagine a situation, Uday, where India finds multiple hydrocarbon reserves and we wipe away the dependence from across the world, which is troubling us so much at this point of time. The whole think tank, the economic think tank of the country right now, is busy putting their mind on how to get the country out of this crisis, including the top level at the government and the economists who practice. They are working overtime to see how to get the country out of this energy crisis, because the way the costs are shooting up, the way supplies have been disrupted, I think is causing so much furor across the country that, as I said, this is the perfect time where this could have happened.
Okay, we've run out of time. We're going to have to leave it at that. My thanks to our guests for joining us with your perspectives on this big story, on this big discovery. And of course, as I said earlier, it has certainly put a smile on all our faces at this very, very crucial juncture. Taking a short break at that point. Much more coming up on the other side. The news continues on NewsX.